It was supposed to be a weekend getaway. Just me, my best friend Claire, and her boyfriend Mark. We'd rented a cabin deep in the woods, far from the noise of the city. The photos online made it look cozy, rustic charm, a fireplace, and a view of the lake. But when we arrived, something felt off. The cabin was darker than the pictures showed, the trees crowding too close, their branches clawing at the roof. The air smelled damp, like rotting leaves and wet earth. Claire joked that it was spooky chic, but I couldn't shake the unease settling in my chest. The first night was fine. We made dinner, played cards, and laughed about how bad Mark was at poker. But when we went to bed, I heard it. A faint scratching sound, like nails dragging against wood. I told myself it was just the wind or an animal outside, but it didn't stop. It grew louder, more deliberate, as if whatever was making it knew we were listening. The next morning I found claw marks on the front door, deep gouges in the wood, fresh enough that splinters still clung to the edges. Claire brushed it off, saying it was probably a bear, but bears don't scratch doors in the middle of the night and then leave without a trace. That afternoon we decided to hike to the lake. The trail was overgrown, the trees so thick they blocked out the sun. About halfway there, Mark stopped suddenly, pointing at something in the distance. "Do you see that?" he asked. I squinted, trying to make out what he was looking at. There was a figure standing between the trees, too far away to see clearly. It was tall and unnaturally still, its shape distorted by the shadows. Claire called out, "Hello," but the figure didn't move. We kept walking, but it was always there, just at the edge of our vision. Every time we turned a corner, it reappeared, closer than before. By the time we reached the lake, we were all on edge. The water was still and dark, reflecting the gray sky above. That's when we noticed the rocks. Dozens of them, arranged in a perfect circle on the shore. In the center was a pile of bones, small animal bones, picked clean. Claire screamed, and we ran back to the cabin, the figure nowhere to be seen. That night, the scratching returned. This time, it wasn't just at the door. It was on the walls, the windows, even the ceiling. Mark grabbed a flashlight and went outside to check, but he came back pale and shaking. "There's nothing out there," he said, but I heard it. It was right next to me. We locked the doors and windows, but it didn't help. The scratching turned into pounding, like something was trying to break in. Then the power went out. In the darkness, the pounding stopped. For a moment there was silence. Then a voice. It was low and guttural, whispering words I couldn't understand. It came from everywhere and nowhere, filling the cabin like a thick, suffocating fog. We huddled together, too terrified to move. The voice grew louder, more insistent, until it felt like it was inside my head. And then, just as suddenly as it started, it stopped. When the sun rose, we packed our things and left, without looking back. The cabin disappeared in the rearview mirror, but the feeling of being watched stayed with me. A week later, I got a package in the mail. No return address, just my name scrawled on the front. Inside was a Polaroid photo of the three of us, taken through the cabin window the night we left. On the back, written in red ink, were 3 words: "We're still here." And I knew we'd never truly escape.